Hello everyone, this is Dr. Heather Carden coming to you live from Overland Park, Kansas. I am one of your nutrition specialists and I am here live every Wednesday to help you understand and how to optimize your health using PruvIt products. So we're going to wait a few minutes while our friends get on. I know that we are a different day because tomorrow I'm traveling to Epic at the time we're usually live, and I know a lot of other people are. So we wanted to make sure that we had the chance to answer your questions every week like always. So we moved it to today to help you answer a few more questions about ketones, ketosis, beta-hydroxybutyrate, keto cream, and whatever else I can help you with. And know that maybe you have friends and family that didn't get to view this because maybe they're at work. You know that you can share this later to your own Facebook page. You can share it to their Facebook page. You can send it through Messenger. You can find past videos underneath the video tab on this Facebook page. So we're just going to again give a few minutes here to get started. And I am so excited to go to Epic. I almost think I could talk about Epic for 20 minutes, but I want to stay focused and I want to answer as many questions as I can. So I want to thank everyone for being on here today. It really warms my heart knowing that PruvIt focuses so much on education. You're going to get a ton of education this weekend at PruvIt, more than you've ever could believe would be possible about ketone technology and ketone therapy. The speaker outline is amazing. If you haven't peeked at it, go to pruvitnow.com/epic to see what the lineup looks like. Just an amazing day. And I hope everyone has a chance to get through the lab and they can help you even answer more questions. So I know I'm super excited to go to the lab on Thursday and all the other things coming up. So let's get started with your questions. I love when people, when PruvIt posts this on the PruvIt Facebook page and people start to answer questions that maybe they can't be on, but maybe they've got a friend watching, so I can help them understand the products a little bit better. But let's just start with the basic. What are ketones? Ketones are simply a byproduct of fatty acid metabolism. So when we eat things like nuts and seeds, oils, avocado, those type of things, our body breaks those down into what's called ketones. And our body can make three different ketones. Beta-hydroxybutyrate, which is the ketone body found in all the PruvIt products except for the keto cream, acetoacetate, and acetone. When we eat carbohydrates like like fruits and vegetables and baked goods and grains and beans and things like that, our body actually breaks those down to glucose. So our body has two fuel sources. It can either run on glucose or it can run on ketones. In the past, in order for our body to run on ketones, we'd have to be on a ketogenic diet, and it would take our body several days to get into a ketosis state, or a state of ketosis, which means an elevated level of blood ketones, and our body's using fat for fuel. Now, what PruvIt has done, which no one else has been able to do, is they actually made an exogenous ketone. So I can be carbohydrate burning or glucose burning, and I can drink my Keto OS, and 20 minutes later, I can be burning ketones for fuel. What is the big deal about ketones, or why is everyone so excited about them? It's because ketones are really a great source for our body. They feed our body at a cellular level. They cross the blood-brain barrier, no insulin required. So you're going to see things like better focus, better memory, better sleep, better moods. They are amazing signalers, and we're going to find a lot about how ketones signal our brain because there's still so much yet to learn from Dr. Dominic D'Agostino and Dr. Ford this weekend. So I'm looking forward to all the information on signaling and how it affects our brains and our body, because we know our brains dictate the function of our entire body. So I'm going to get started here with questions since I see those. So Dr. Ellisor, sorry about that. Dr. Brad says, will a severe migraine suffer? How long will it take to expect reasonable changes? So Dr. Brad, thanks for asking that question. You know, as I do, everyone is as individualized as we are, from hair color to eye color to height and weight. So everyone's response time may be different because there's age, there's gender, there's lifestyle factors, there's diet, there's exercise. So many things can really affect how long it takes our body to respond. I generally use a rule of thumb 4 to 6 weeks to really start seeing amazing changes in the body. We know it takes a good 90 days to make healthy new red blood cells. So if I'm drinking my Keto OS today and I drink it for the next 90 days, all my blood will have a chance to optimize on ketones for fuel. I know we do a 5-day experience, which will give you an idea of how ketones perform in your body and what can you experience on those 5 days. Generally, what people say is after 5 days or 10 days, they start to think clearer, kind of like a windshield wiper's been lifted off their glass. They start to see clearer, they start to think clearer, maybe sleep's a little bit better, they get to sleep easier, or they're waking up less tired, more refreshed, hitting their alarm less. They feel like their moods are a little more even, so they're not maybe as easy to agitate or easy to anger, and maybe not as sleepy throughout the day. So that's a lot of things that people start to notice the first few days. But to make true cellular changes, you really need to give your body 4 to 6 weeks to have that opportunity to really nourish the cells with healthy exogenous ketones, which is beta hydroxybutyrate. So Dr. Brad, hopefully that helped answer your question. But if it's a person who's had a severe condition for many years, you've just got to give your body time. So this is the second gut issue I've seen. I saw diverticulitis and I saw Crohn's disease. So we'll talk a little bit about gut inflammation. So inflammation just means that inflammation can happen in any cell in our body. It can happen in our brain. It can happen in our hands. It can happen in our heart. It can happen in our colon, like it will with diverticulitis or with Crohn's or some other autoimmune disease. We know that ketones reduce inflammation, specifically beta hydroxybutyrate inhibits NLRP3 inflammasome. So don't take my word for it. Know that you can go and Google ketones or BHB and inflammation, and you're going to see a lot of peer-reviewed or clinical data that you'll find that ketones help reduce inflammation, whether it's in the gut with Crohn's or if it's in the brain or if it's focus issue. You'll find a lot of that information about. I want to make sure that you know that PruvIt is not making any medical claims. PruvIt has not done any funded research studies themselves. We know that we've studied ketones for almost 90 years. Exogenous ketones and ketone esters and salts have been studied for about the last 2 to 3 decades. But PruvIt was the first to bring an exogenous ketone to the market that can put your body in ketosis in less than 59 minutes. And that's really what grabbed my heart, because I knew about the ketogenic diet. I knew about the amazing benefits of ketones, but I also knew how hard it was to do the diet. So you can simply eat any diet you choose, whether it's a gluten-free, dairy-free, standard American, maybe it's a kosher, halal, maybe it's a corn-free diet, maybe you're a paleo diet. You can have any diet that you choose. You can drink Keto OS, and 99% reliability, you will get into ketosis in less than 59 minutes. So Rhonda's saying, why would a woman gain weight the first few weeks on ketones? So ketones are muscle preserving, and you have to kind of ask why the weight is gained. Have they changed their diet? Because some people start drinking ketones and go really hard into a ketogenic diet, which has a lot of dairy and heavy whipping cream and nuts. And sometimes people end up overeating on the nuts and the heavy dairies and meat that can actually cause them to increase weight, or their body's not used to the ketone salt. So it can simply just be water weight and your body getting acclimated to having the ketones in there. So really focus on how you feel and listen to your body. So if you're drinking the ketones and you're feeling maybe a little puffy or a little stiffness, and everyone's talking about these great anti-inflammatory benefits, then it's just a little bit too much ketones too quickly. So simply reduce your serving size. So if you're doing a full serving, just do a half a serving for 2 or 3 days till your body equalizes. And if your body is dehydrated, we know 79% of Americans are dehydrated, your body will actually hold on to those extra salts from the ketones. Ketones actually have a mild diuretic effect, but it can happen oppositely. If your body is already dehydrated, it can cause further dehydration. Your body will hold on to any water or salt it gets to save it for a rainy day, so to speak. So make sure you're drinking plenty of water, reduce your serving size, and your body should equalize out. But if you're a person who's using Keto OS and you're working out pretty heavily, ketones are muscle sparing. We know Max has one of the amino acids that can increase protein synthesis. So you could be actually making more lean muscle mass and losing fat at the same time. So don't only go by what the scale says, go by how you feel, go by how your hungry and thought process is, and always measure. I don't care if you measure with a piece of yarn or you measure with your favorite pair of pants, but always kind of see what your body's doing and give it a little bit of time. So Faith says, does one need to take potassium while taking the product? So Faith, I never recommend, or most physicians don't ever recommend potassium unless they've checked their blood levels to see if potassium is low. Now we do recommend a multi-mineral supplement or an electrolyte because ketones are a mild diuretic. Magnesium is one of those first minerals that get depleted pretty quickly. Decrease in magnesium can cause muscle cramps or headaches or constipation, and it's pretty safe to take a good magnesium over the counter. So if you're a person who's finding that you lost a lot of inflammation or the scale moved pretty quickly, a lot of water came out of your fat cells. Also with those toxins in your fat cells come healthy electrolytes like sodium, potassium. PruvIt does an amazing job balancing back in the minerals. That's why the sodium is in all the products. But no, if you're having those symptoms of dehydration or maybe decreased magnesium, it's safe to put in extra magnesium. It's safe to put in extra electrolytes. It's safe to put in extra multi-minerals. But potassium alone is generally only given through a prescription or through a blood chemistry test. So I try to read these really quickly if anybody's ever tried to do this. So Dee says, can someone with one kidney drink Keto OS? And Dee, the answer is yes, but they need to check with their healthcare provider first. Keto OS is water soluble, which means you simply drink it. It goes right into the blood cells, and then your body excretes what it doesn't use or need. So since the kidney doesn't have to break anything down, it's already in the metabolic form, a metabolite or ketone body that our body can use. If you've had a history of kidney issues or you only have one kidney, then it is fine to use, but always check with your healthcare provider. There's an amazing help center that will answer that question in more detail and also answer the question about kidney stones. So when you go to PruvItNow.com, at the very top right hand of the corner, there's a question mark with a circle. There's an amazing help center there that talks more about kidney safety and Keto OS, kidney stones and Keto OS, liver and Keto OS, pregnancy, breastfeeding, all those type of things. So hopefully we'll get some more questions answered as quickly as I can today. John says, how does it help a person with seizures? So, John, originally the ketogenic diet was done for children who are non-responsive to medication and still having seizures. We found out that on a very, very low carbohydrate diet and ketone levels were found in the blood, or you were in ketosis, that the seizure activity would minimalize or stop. We see the same thing with movement disorders like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, other things that have movement disorders to them. So I want to have you do a little bit of research and Google exogenous ketones and seizures, or ketones and seizures, or you can go to the Charlie Foundation website, and they've got a lot of amazing information they've collected over the last 10 to 15 years. There's also recipes about how ketones can help with seizure activity, but Keto OS is not making any medical claims that it cures or stops seizures or cures Crohn's or the other diseases. Just know that ketones is a superior choice of fuel. That's what Keto OS and Biomax Supply is, a superior fuel source for your body. So Diane's asking about PTSD. Someone else asked about moods. So we don't know everything there is to know about ketones. We know that we're further exploring them, and that's what really Dr. Ford and Dr. Dominic D'Agostino are going to talk about this weekend. But ketones are amazing signalers. We have several different parts to our brain, but we know our emotional centers are in our brain, so things that drive our hunger and drive our thirst, drive our happiness and our sadness. We have different parts of our brain, trying to keep it really simple, so we know ketones actually turn those on. So that's why you'll hear amazing story about people who have suffered from anxiety or from PTSD or sleep issues, having a lot more ability to sleep better, having better focus, having better moods. You can go to the top of this Facebook page in the search bar and put in PTSD, and you're going to hear people's personal experiences. You can put in seizures and hear people's personal experiences. So you can go right there and type it in there when we're off today and see the testimonies you can find from people who've been using Keto OS over the last several months to a year and a half, and what they've experienced through that specific disease, whether it's migraine or autism or MS or Parkinson's, and they're going to give a lot of information there about it. Or you can go to PruvItNow.com/research. So hopefully I've got a wingman there from corporate that can put some of those in. But if you go to PruvItNow.com/research, there's some information there about cognitive behavior, neural protection, so post-concussion, post-head injury, maybe PTSD, and they start to cover some of those areas, how ketones can really help the brain recover from those types of situations. So Amy, yes, Keto OS is safe for a person with celiac because they are all gluten-free. Even Biomax is gluten-free. She's also asking about type 1 diabetics. Keto OS is safe for someone who has type 1 or type 2 diabetes, but always check with your healthcare provider and know that Keto OS is not a meal replacement. It is not a protein shake. It is not a multivitamin. It is a exogenous ketone source which delivers pure therapeutic exogenous ketones to your body as an energy source. Thank you, Jonathan, for putting that on there. So think of Keto OS as a fuel. So if your thyroid has a starting problem, because the thyroid is ignition for your body, or you're fatigued throughout the day, just think if you put I've got mine shaking up here. If you put a superior choice of fuel in your body's going to ultimately run better. And what runs your body is your brain. Your brain's at least 60% fat. So if we give our body a fuel source that's a byproduct of fat, like ketones, it makes sense as the signals are going to communicate much better from cell to cell and from your brain to your extremities. So Roy, today must be a gut issue. I've seen a couple of MS and a couple of things about ulcerative colitis. Ketones, as we know, are anti-inflammatory. So whether it's acute inflammation from a strain sprain, maybe it's a chronic inflammation like osteoarthritis, or an autoimmune condition like rheumatoid arthritis or ulcerative colitis or Crohn's, we know that ketones reduce inflammation. So it makes sense that if we drink exogenous ketones, they will naturally help our body reduce inflammation at a cellular level. Again, you can Google those when we get off here, and you can find a lot of information about there. It's still in the research tab also. You'll find the information about ketones and inflammation. Ashley's saying, what are you fat adapted through the keto diet and exogenous ketones are all used up? So I'm trying to read that pretty quickly there. So Ashley, we have found, and I was already on a ketogenic diet when I first experienced exogenous ketones. You'll hear Dr. Dominic D'Agostino and Dr. Jacob Wilson, who are in ketosis or on a ketogenic diet, and they add exogenous ketones to their diet. And that's what I found personally, and other people have experienced, that it raises your ketone level to a little bit higher reading, which for me kept it more balanced out. And that's also what you'll hear on this page through different testimonies. If you're already fat adapted and you're already on a ketogenic diet, it just helps make my ketone levels a little more stable. We know ketones will vary throughout the day. Many things can change it from age to diet to too much sleep, not enough sleep, hydration. All those factors can affect your own endogenous ketones when your body makes them or the liver makes them. But when you're drinking water soluble, which is exogenous ketones or keto OS, your body simply uses what it needs and then excretes what it doesn't need. So hopefully that helped answer your question. And Todd, the Sjogren's disease is going to be the same. It helps with inflammation. We know fats also help with diseases like MS and Sjogren's, that we can help reduce inflammation. Ketones deliver almost 38% more oxygen. So whether it's MS or Sjogren's or ulcerative colitis, if you're getting more oxygen at a cellular level to the tissue, the body has a better chance at responding throughout the day and responding to day-to-day stress, and you're going to find an increase in energy throughout that. So Elizabeth is asking about effectiveness, if caffeine version is effective. So Elizabeth, we're going to talk about the products at the last 5 minutes and review them all, and I will make sure I address the caffeine and caffeine-free conversation, so we know how much approximately caffeine is in each one and when to use the caffeine-free and when not to. But yes, they are effective. Remember that we are drinking Keto OS and Biomax for the beta hydroxybutyrate. Whether it has caffeine or it's caffeine free, we're drinking it for the beta hydroxybutyrate or the ketone body. That's what gives us amazing benefits, from neural protection to better focus, better sleep, less inflammation, better digestion. All those things come from the ketone body, not from the caffeine that's also added in there. Someone asked about non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Keto OS is water soluble and they're exogenous ketones. Exogenous means outside the body. So I'm drinking them in a package outside my body and putting them in. If I'm using endogenous ketones, that means my liver actually has to make and burn them for fuel. That's a lot more work on all of my digestive system. But with Keto OS, because it's already in usable form, that's why we just mix it and drink it. We don't have to have any gallbladder salts. We don't have to have our liver do anything, except for with the 2.1, the liver gets to process the MCT oil, but not with the 3.0 or the max. So if you have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or you have some type of liver issue or swollen liver, or you've had a history of that, first, again, check with your medical provider before starting any nutritional supplement, even Keto OS and Biomax or Keto Cream, but know that it's safe because it's water soluble and it's in that usable form already. So hopefully that makes sense on that question. So Tiffany said, what happens when you drink Keto OS without following a ketogenic diet? Tiffany, you can drink Keto OS. You do not have to follow a ketogenic diet. You don't have to follow a low carb, high fat diet. You can simply eat your normal diet and you can drink your Keto OS. And we know there's a lot of amazing benefits from it. So if you're drinking Keto OS for better sleep or better focus, even if you're not having a ketogenic diet, you're still going to get all the amazing benefits of ketones because you're putting them inside your body and they're working at a cellular level. So you don't have to follow a ketogenic diet or a low carb, high fat diet. You can simply drink it and the ketones get right into the body at a cellular level. Robin's asking about fat, weight loss, and gallbladder. So Robin, because Keto OS is exogenous, which means outside the body, our body doesn't have to break it down. So there's nothing required from the gallbladder to do that. But Keto OS is not a weight loss supplement. I know I get a lot of shocking emails like, I thought it was weight loss. I saw all these stories about people losing weight. Keto OS, the benefits of ketones lead to fat loss. Weight loss includes muscle and water and fat. Fat loss is fat loss. Ketones are muscle preserving. Why do the benefits lead towards fat loss or better body composition? Because ketones give us energy. Most people tend to eat because they're tired or they're fatigued, so they need a quick carb for a little bit of food or maybe a protein. People also eat because of cravings. So we know that if we can give our body a ketone body, like beta hydroxybutyrate that reduces cravings, that give us more energy, and actually, again, signal for our brain those happy hormone transmitters. So it turns on our frontal lobe, which is a lot of where emotions come from. We're less likely to eat because of emotions. We're less likely to eat because we're craving something, and less likely to eat because we're fatigued. And if we're getting more oxygen or a better fuel source, we're going to have a lot more energy to get throughout the day. So those are the benefits, or just a few of the benefits that we get from ketones body that lead to fat loss. So hopefully that makes sense. But again, it's not a weight loss supplement, fat loss supplement. Again, I want to say hello to everyone around the globe. I see people from Canada and people from US and people from Australia. I'm really looking forward to seeing each and every one of you at Epic. So we'll get back on here with questions. So Eileen, we just talked about the fatty liver disease, but you can go to PruvItNow.com to the question mark, and it'll discuss about liver disease and exogenous ketones and why exogenous ketones are safe for your liver, safe if you don't have a gallbladder, and safe if you have any type of kidney concerns. Again, consult with your healthcare provider. See, and Nicole says it's helping a lot with her allergies. So when I talked about reduction of inflammation, I didn't even mention allergies. But yes, when we're having seasonal allergies, that's definitely an inflammation of the mucosal membrane or the sinuses. So when ketones reduce inflammation, they'll go to the site that needs the help most, whether it's a sprained ankle or sinuses or the gut. We'll see that reduction in inflammation. So Mark is saying, can you stop taking PruvIt and still feel great while keeping a keto diet? And you must strictly eat keto to feel great after stopping Keto OS. So Mark, I'm going to hopefully understand your questions. If you guys can make them super short, it's actually really, really easy for me to read. So Mark, what happens when you start taking Keto OS? I'm just going to make that a question because people say, how long do I have to take Keto OS? Do I have to take it the rest of my life? And what happens if I stop? So generally what happens is when you don't want the benefits anymore of neuroprotection, and you don't want the benefits of better energy, and you don't want craving control, and you don't want to sleep better if Keto OS's help with that, then that's what happens when you stop taking the product. We are learning more and more from the millions of servings that we've done that we found that ketones are so important for signaling our brain. But when you stop drinking Keto OS, those benefits you were getting ultimately stop getting those. So if you're drinking it for inflammation and the Keto OS help reduce the inflammation, maybe the tissue isn't all the way healed, it could actually come back and your body goes back to its normal response. So I don't have a magic wand or a magic answer to say, yes, exactly this will happen. But no, simply when you stop drinking Keto OS, you stop getting the benefits from Keto OS, which are all on the side of the panel, which are fat loss and neural protection and sleep and mood and focus, helps balance out cholesterol, those type of things. So Sunny, I did mention a bit about MS. I saw MS 3 or 4 times. So Sunny must be coming to us from Kansas. So Sunny, when we talk about different diseases, whether it's MS or it's ulcerative colitis or Crohn's, I saw, or chronic migraine, we really just break it down to a big umbrella of what's happening with the immune system. So MS is an autoimmune disease. We know that we see demyelinization happening on the nerve cell. So that's a conduction issue. If we know that ketones help signal the brain better, that would make sense that a person who suffered from MS or Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, that the signaling will improve. Again, we don't know everything about the signaling properties of ketones. I think we're just really touching on it right now. And again, we're going to hear more over the next 1 to 2 years about how that works. But you can look up Dr. Wall's book when she talks about following a low carb, high fat diet, about the protection that you get and how it helped her with her MS. Go to this page. Again, I'm not making any medical claims, but go to the top of the PruvIt page, put in MS, and see who shared their testimony or their experience on Keto OS. And again, just think of it as a fuel and what's happening when the person has ADHD or a person has anxiety or someone has Alzheimer's or those other things. When we put a better fuel into our body, it functions much better. I saw a thyroid question up there. So the thyroid is the ignition for our body. The adrenal glands are the engine that sit right on top of our kidneys that make 3 different separate hormones. But if we can give our body a superior fuel source that we can simply drink, it doesn't have to break it down. We don't have to go into a starvation mode on a ketogenic diet, and we can get that fuel source within just a few minutes. The body's going to run much better throughout the day, and then it's going to rest and recover better at night. Deborah, yes, Keto OS does curb sugar cravings. We've also seen testimonies that it's helped people stop all cravings, whether it's from addictive medications or from diet sodas or from sugars or from, I even saw a testimony about cigarettes. They just forgot to smoke. So we know that ketones signal the brain to help in that addiction center, whether it's sugar cravings or alcohol cravings. Again, we've not made any medical claims, but you can hear a lot of those great experiences here on this page. Yeah, Sunny says it kills the craving. Awesome. Yeah, and I love this. You guys can read along with me. A lot of people are having a lot of great testimonies sharing what they've learned putting the Keto OS in their body. So, Wilhelmina, thank you for asking that question. Is Keto OS effective for weight loss while on an HRT or hormone replacement therapy? So again, we're not going to refer to Keto OS as a weight loss, but a fat loss supplement. And with hormone replacement therapy, Keto OS is safe to take with your HRT because Keto OS does not contain any hormones, doesn't contain any hormone derivatives. To the best of our knowledge, we have not experienced any contraindication with exogenous ketones or Keto OS and hormones, but you will hear a lot of people having amazing testimony that it helps with things like PCOS, Jessica, or it helps with menopause. I saw someone earlier because our pituitary and hypothalamus are the brain centers for our brain. They release all the hormones to our thyroids, to our gonads, to all of our releasing hormones. So if we know that ketones are better signalers, again, not 100% understood, but if we can get the signaling better to our brain, then the brain's going to signal much better to our hormone glands. So you'll see people come to a much happier place or to a much more even place of how their body should be aging. Brad says best non-water or LaCroix liquid to mix. So Brad, I'm glad you asked that. You can mix Keto OS or Biomax with anything hot or cold. You can mix with almond milk, coconut milk, LaCroix. You can put a pinch of lime in there. I'm going to make some Jello jigglers because my boys like to do some endurance stuff. So I'm going to try to make some of those. You can cook with Keto OS. Hopefully we're going to learn some more at Epic about different ways to use Keto OS in food products, but you can drink it hot. You can drink it cold. I do recommend that you drink what you can mix within an hour and realize that you're drinking Keto OS for the beta hydroxybutyrate. So if you've got to add a little bit of lemon, a little bit of orange, if you've got to add a little bit of LaCroix or sparkling water, it's safe to do that. It's not going to interact from the digestive process that you're getting from the Keto OS. Davina, we're going to talk about the difference of Keto OS and Max at the last few minutes. So Tom says, how long does your body stay in ketosis after drinking Keto OS? So Tom, it's a little bit different for everyone. Some people will experience ketosis or a heightened level of ketones anywhere from 2 to 6+ hours. It depends on exercise. It depends on age. It depends on digestion. If you're taking other pharmaceuticals, kind of your overall body chemistry, but you should experience the state of ketosis or the benefits of ketones anywhere from 2 to 6 hours after taking it. Morgan says high blood pressure and Keto OS. So Megan Lindsay, I said Morgan. I have a good friend named Morgan. So Megan, yes, you can take Keto OS with high blood pressure, but I would recommend that you use the caffeine free. If you're worried about the salt content, then Max has the least amount of sodium in it. And the reason we have sodium in Keto OS is to help balance out what's naturally lost through the diuretic or the anti-inflammatory properties that we get from ketones. Again, check with your doctor, measure your blood pressure every day, which you should be doing anyway, and simply start with a reduced serving, caffeine free. Make sure you're drinking it with plenty of water, if you're doing a half a serving, maybe 6 to 8 ounces, a full serving 10 to 12 ounces. And then again, just monitor your blood pressure. Sometimes many times we figured out people put the Keto OS in and they think that's causing the elevation in blood pressure. And what's happening is that they're putting more caffeine because they're using the caffeinated Keto OS or Biomax, and they're doing a keto cream and getting coffee or tea, and they end up adding a lot more caffeine to their diet than they had been doing prior to the PruvIt products. So just make sure you monitor your caffeine. It's safe to take electrolytes and extra magnesium if you're worried about your blood pressure. Drink plenty of water, and you can always add a pinch of Himalayan sea salt to your foods. So Ginger says, how long does it stay good? So I've asked the lab and I've asked the formulators. I've asked Ryan and Dr. Jacob. They generally say mix up what you can drink within an hour. We are currently doing some testing to see if it's going to last 24 hours in solution or 48. But the 2.1 has a little MCT. You'll see it kind of coagulate if you're mixing it with something cold. So I generally say drink what you can do within an hour, because if you're drinking out of the same glass for 6 or 7 hours, your saliva has a lot of bacteria and stuff in it and can actually affect anything that you're doing. So just make sure you drink and mix what you can do within an hour. And so Lindsay said the same thing. How long does it last after mixing? So Lindy, I would say drink what you can mix with in an hour. And Amy's up to her second dose and feeling fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Christina, can you take Keto OS during pregnancy? Christina, the answer is yes. I say Keto OS is safe womb to tomb. Babies are in ketosis about the 20th week. That'll vary a little bit during gestation. We know that babies are actually in ketosis as long as the mother's breastfeeding. When we first enter food or formula, that's when the baby actually goes out of ketosis. But most studies show that babies are naturally in ketosis. They eat when they're hungry and they stop when they're not. That's how we know they don't have those crazy cravings. So it is safe for pregnancy. I would suggest or recommend the caffeine-free And I would also recommend that you increase your water if you're breastfeeding, because then we know ketones have a mild diuretic effect, and we want to make sure that you remain well hydrated. So Gwen's asking about insulin resistant and PCOS. So Gwen, if you go to PruvItNow.com in the question mark, we have a nice sentence from Dr. Veach stating that when we have exogenous ketones in our body releases less insulin upon a carbohydrate induction. So what that means is if I just had a regular bagel and I didn't use any exogenous ketones, my body might release, this amount of insulin. But if I have keto OS in my body and I eat the bagel, then my body might release less insulin, because when we eat a carbohydrate, the body releases insulin. We get glucose for fuel. Glucose, we know, is what we also, insulin's a major depositor of fat. So we want to actually utilize less insulin over our lifetime. Type 2 diabetes comes from overusing our insulin. So if we're always having a carb at breakfast, a carb at snack, a carb at lunch, our body has to release insulin every time that we have a carbohydrate. That's why we're finding type 2 diabetes getting in younger and younger people because of sodas. I'm trying not to name brands of things, sports drink, those type of things that have a big hit of sugar in them. So we're finding that coming in an earlier age, but we know through some of the studies that when you have exogenous ketones in the body while you introduce a carbohydrate into the system, we will have a better insulin balance from that, and people become more metabolically stable. Gosh, everyone's got these great things. Pam just said she's lost 75 pounds. So I don't know what the person said, but she said she got better results mixing one than the other. And I do recommend that if you're a person who's using it for body recomposition or for sleep or for focus or for mood, and you find that you had this amazing benefit the first month or two, and then you feel like things have kind of plateaued a little bit, I'm going to recommend that you actually mix them up. So maybe if you've just been doing the orange for the last 6 months, maybe mix half orange and half of the max with that. Or if you've been doing just the chocolate, maybe mix the chocolate with a little bit of keto cream to get some more healthy fats in there. So mix up what you're doing a little bit. If you feel like your body's plateaued, you got these amazing benefits, and again, we've kind of plateaued a little bit, take a look at your diet, take a look at the timing that you're using the product. And again, it's safe to use an ending combination. 1 dose is considered therapeutic, 2 servings is considered optimal. But what we found is that Keto S is water soluble. So there are some biohackers out there, and I heard Dr. Dominic D'Agostino 3 weeks ago saying that if he's in the lab working all afternoon, he'll have a breakfast and then he'll have 2 or 3 servings of Keto S and then have dinner at 9. So he's using it throughout the day, but we do recommend 2 is optimal serving. That's right, fats for energy, Amber. Thank you for sharing that. So someone's asking, how do you handle medical research outside this? So because PruvIt has not funded any medical research, but we've studied ketones for almost 90 years and exogenous ketones for the last 2 or 3 decades, and we have the internet and we have a great browser board, I would recommend that you be your own skeptic. I recommend that you go look at fat loss in ketones, or you look at ADHD in ketones, or beta hydroxybutyrate specifically, and you'll find a lot of pages. I know last week someone said, what about breastfeeding in ketones? And I actually Googled breastfeeding ketones, and I got 96,000 hits. Not all of them are peer-reviewed article, but a large amount of them were. So go ahead and start looking for those. You can look in the browser board or go to the Keto OS page, or the PruvIt page, which is what you're on now in that search bar, and put in any disease process that you're looking for. I'm going to take a minute here, and I want everyone to share with me. I want a number 1 if you're new, which means you haven't been on our Ask a Specialist. I want a number 2 if you're a frequent person who finds this to be helpful, and a number 3 if you're going to Epic. So hopefully I see a lot of 1s and 3s on here, a lot of 2s and 3s. So I'm looking forward to that. So Angela's asked, what about ketones in cancer? So we're not going to make any claims that ketones treat cancer. You can certainly look up a lot of information about a ketogenic diet, how ketones can help starve out cancer cells. We are not making any medical claims, but if you're a person who's using Keto OS and you have cancer and you're using it for a fuel source, that makes absolute smart sense to me, because you want to get amazing fuel. You want to get a fuel that has more oxygen, has an anti-inflammatory effect into the cell. Again, we're not making any medical claims. I saw that cancer would come up 4 or 5 times. So just making really clear that we're making no medical claims, but there's an amazing amount of research. Dr. Poff has done some amazing research. Dr. Adrian Scheck has done some great research out of the Barrow Institute in Arizona about beta hydroxybutyrate and cancer therapy. So please go and search those out. I love everyone answering. So lots of 3s, lots of people are going to be Epic, which is wonderful. And so I saw a question there about digestion. So let's talk about that. That's the number one side effect that people can get when introducing Keto OS or Biomax into your body. Our bodies have been used to burning carbohydrates for fuel or glucose, and we forgot. Remember, as babies in the utero, we used ketones when we first came out, and we were using breast milk. We got ketones out for that. But when we start introducing the drive-thrus and the boxed foods and the carbohydrate foods, our bodies started using primarily glucose for fuel. So if it's been a little while and you're a few years older than I am, or a few years younger, or whatever, decade-wise, if you've been the last 20 or 30 years using primarily glucose for fuel and your body has not used to using ketones, just go very slowly, which means start with half of a serving and build up to that. So if you do a full serving of Keto OS and you get diarrhea, that means that's just too many ketones too fast, and it can be that your body's getting rid of inflammation. So if you have an increase of bowel movements that seem to be loose but aren't crampy or aren't painful, that can be your body's way of getting rid of inflammation. But if it changes your lifestyle and day-to-day habits, then reduce that serving size. Or if there's pain or cramping, reduce your serving size, or if it lasts longer than the first 2 or 3 days. But if you're at the other end of things where you drink Keto OS or Biomax and you get constipated, the first thing I'm going to have you do is reduce the serving, be really well hydrated. The major function of a large intestine is to reabsorb water and get ready for evacuation. So if evacuation is not happening and you're getting constipated, that's a normal sign of dehydration. So simply drink extra water, reduce your serving size a little bit, maybe add some extra magnesium in there, and that should help get things moving along. But please don't let that go on for 2 or 3 weeks before you reach out to support or ask maybe someone that shared Keto OS with you what to do about the constipation. So listen to your body. If things are not coming out or they're coming out too quickly, simply reduce your serving size, make sure you're eating plenty of healthy greens, living that native 8 lifestyle, and drinking lots of water. I think people are answering other people in here, so Michelle, yes, Michelle says, what happens after you get done burning the ketones? So think of it like a hybrid car or a Tesla. So we, when it comes to an intersection, one time a Tesla or a hybrid car will run on battery, then it'll run on gasoline. The same thing happens. So if I've got my Keto OS here and I haven't eaten for 3 or 4 hours. So my body's been burning carbohydrates if I was on a standard American diet, but I'm on a ketogenic diet, so my body's been burning ketones. But let's say I'm on a standard American diet. I had breakfast, I had the juice and cereal several hours ago. My body's been using glucose. Then I drink ketones and put ketones into my body. My body uses that for the next 4 to 6 hours. Then when it's done, it will go back to burning ketones. And our body does that throughout the day. Elite performance athletes will go from carbohydrate to burning ketones when they hit that wall on endurance. That's because their body, when that wall hits, your body switches into burning fat for fuel, which is a much more efficient system. Some people who have a thin body weight, actually when they're sleeping, their body goes into ketosis. That can be just a normal part of their body's biomechanics. So our body can slip into and out of ketosis. It's a native state. Our body is used to burning that fuel. But what happens is our body is not super selective during the day. Whatever fuel is available, it will use. What that means is if I have Keto OS and drink it, that's a more usable fuel. It gets right into my blood system. I can generally check my blood within about 20 minutes and find that my ketone levels have elevated. But if I didn't have my exogenous ketones or Keto OS and I just had carbohydrates, so my body is just going to strictly run on carbohydrates. So don't try to overthink it. Think of it as an amazing fuel source. It goes right to the cell. The powerhouse for our cells called the mitochondria. It delivers more energy to the powerhouse of the cell. It's an amazing signaler for our brain. So it helps signals everything because again, our circuit board and everything is up here in our brain, which dictates our entire function of our body. So when we can signal our brain, we see amazing things happen. So Christina said, how long does an order take? And I haven't gotten a question. So Christina, that's great. You know that you can order Keto OS in 15 serving size. You can order it in 30. You can order it in 60. So if you were taking the optimal serving size, that would be 2 per day, then you would need 60 servings per month. If you're a person who's a bit more conservative and maybe just using a half a serving, then 15 serving a half a serving a day, which is less than therapeutic because we recommend 1 serving a day is therapeutic. 2 servings a day is optimal. So how long the serving or how many servings a month really depends on how often that you're using Keto OS and how many members of your family are using Keto OS. I have 4 boys, so age 14 to 22, plus my husband. So we actually, they each like to do about 1 to 2 servings a day. So they simply drink it when they feel like they need it. So we, I'd say most of my children do about 2 servings a day. So Carrie, let me check the time real quick. Oh, I'm over time. So sorry, I didn't have my clock on there. So let's go through the different products. So I'm really sorry if I did not get your questions answered today. Please go to the Help Center, which is PruvItNow.com with a little question mark. Click on that. There's an amazing Help Center. It talks about the products, what's in the products. It has the package covering, the envelope, all the ingredients on the back. The second tab has health. It talks about why it's safe for pregnancy and breastfeeding. It addresses diabetes. It addresses insulin resistance. It addresses liver and kidney, heart disease. I'm sorry, blood pressure, tachycardia. Those answers are all there in the Help Center. And if you still can't find it there, then you can send your question into support@PruvItHQ.com, or you can sign up for the amazing excursion on Saturday with Dr. Andrea Campitelli, and she's going to donate 3 hours to help you better understand ketones. So let's get right down to it since I went on too long. So the orange, sorry, put these right in front. The 2.1, and the numbers just correspond to the versions that the formularies have made. So the 2.1 is the Orange Dream. It has the amazing ketone body, beta-hydroxybutyrate, plus it has MCT powder, which is a medium chain triglyceride. It's a great energy source, so that's why it really is a great complement to the beta-hydroxybutyrate. It does have a little bit of dairy that we use to plate the MCT to the beta-hydroxybutyrate. And it comes in charged and uncharged, and we'll talk about the caffeine in just a minute. The other one we have is 3.0 or chocolate. The chocolate does not have any MCT oil, but it has a short chain fatty acid called butyrate, and that actually helps with energy and also is much easier on the stomach. So if you're having gastric disturbance with the orange because your body's not really used to having the MCTs, then I would go to the butyrate, which is the chocolate. It also has an additional prebiotic called inulin or chicory root, which is great for digestion. It turns on healthy bacteria in our gut, helps balance out our blood sugar, and it also has 4 very friendly amino acids, ketone friendly amino acids, that is. Then we have the Max. Max has the same ketone body beta-hydroxybutyrate that the orange and the chocolate have, except for it's blended together, so it's a max amount of formula. It's twice as bioavailable than any other ketone product on the market. It does not have MCT. It does not have the butyrate or the short chain fatty acid. You can add the MCT oil in there if you want to get more healthy fats in there. This is an amazing Maui punch flavor. It doesn't have any butyrate in it, but it has 2 amazing amino acids that can actually increase your body's natural production of ketones. So the leucine can actually break down into more ketones and actually can increase protein synthesis, which is super important as we age, as we grow. So important for children, important for people as we start to age. But again, you can mix and match these. You can mix the orange and the Maui. You can mix any of these in hot or cold, whichever you prefer. And then the last one we have is the keto cream. The keto cream is not right in my hand. The keto cream, let me grab the box. The keto cream does not have any ketone bodies in it. What the keto cream gives you is an amazing source of healthy saturated fats. It has MCT powder, like the 2.1 has the MCT. It does have dairy in it, as a orange does also. The Max and the 3.0 are dairy-free. All of them are gluten-free. It has MCT powder, coconut powder, and a patent blend of Ceylon cinnamon. So this is a great way of healthy fats to get started with your day. You can mix it in coffee, you can mix it in tea, you can make a cookie or a biscotti, you can put it on top of your kids' oatmeal if you want to get more healthy fats in there. You can make a slushy out of it with coconut oil or almond milk, again, to get more healthy fats in there. You can use it in the morning, you can use it in the afternoon for more healthy fats. I know some people actually like to have it with a cup of tea at night. It really helps them sleep, getting all those fats into their brain to help down-regulate and calm down their body, and that way their body can wake up with healthy fats. So any time of the day is fine. I do want to touch on the caffeine a minute because I said that I would. So we PruvIt has a patent proprietary blend, which means we don't share all the ingredients. We do share all the ingredients, but not the quantity. So the amount of beta-hydroxybutyrate is not publicly shared. They haven't shared it with me, but know that there's enough beta-hydroxybutyrate to put you into ketosis in less than 59 minutes. The amount of caffeine in the charged version of the Max, the 2.1, is about the same as a medium Starbucks coffee. And the chocolate's charged. Again, it comes in charged and uncharged. So the silver is uncharged and the gold is charged. It has about the same amount of caffeine as a small Starbucks coffee. Again, if you're concerned about caffeine, simply eliminate it out. You can either put the PruvIt products in coffee if you want more caffeine, or you can buy the one with the caffeine supplement. I'll leave that up to you. But I want to say I'm really, really looking forward to everyone and seeing everyone in Epic. So everyone who's had a 3, I'm super excited to see you. Know that if you had a friend or family member that missed us today and didn't have a chance to answer question. They can listen to this throughout the day. You can share that with them through Facebook Messenger, through your Facebook page. Again, I'm looking really forward to seeing all of you this in just a couple of days in Dallas. If you're looking about what's happening at the schedule, go to PruvItNow.com/epic with the K, and you can see the amazing lineup of speakers and the amazing schedule that's set up. I know you won't want to miss this, especially you who love all that ketone technology. So I want to say God bless, and I will see you all in Dallas. Have an amazing day.